Good morning. It's good to be with you this morning and continuing to build on the four pillars for a healthy Christian business leader. Pillar number one is healthy relationships, and then number two is build biblical financial values, biblical spirituality, and balanced living. This week, of course, we've been doing a series on Proverbs. This is one of those like extra weeks, week 5 kind of, in between March and April. And so, of course, today is April 1st, and often referred to as April Fool's Day. We're focusing on Proverbs, and I've called it Proverbs and Business. And actually, I was listening to Todd Gale on YouTube a couple days ago. And Todd Gale he's at Life 100.3 in Barrie, and he was saying that we really should abolish this idea of the whole April Fool's Day thing. And of course, some people made comments because they figured that he was afraid that his wife was going to play some trick on him, and that kind of stuff. I'm not sure what your feelings are about April Fool's Day, and I'm not going to do an April Fool's message per se this morning, but I did think it was kind of interesting, when you look at the word fool in Scripture. And so Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7 reads this: "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction." And so I think that's a good message for today. It's a good message for any day, really, but today being April Fool's Day, I think it's a good message. Again, the fear of the Lord. What does it mean to have the fear of the Lord? Well, the fear of the Lord is... first of all, what it's not this idea that you're shaking in your boots and that you're terrified and that you're just like, am so afraid of God that I dare not draw near to Him, come close to Him. If that's the fear you have, then it would be because you don't know Him as Father, and or you've had a father who you feared in that way, and you should not. I feel for you if that's the case, because that would have potentially given you a wrong view of God as our Father. And God as our Father, there is an aspect of fear. And some people try to explain the fear of the Lord completely away. It's just, well, we have great respect for Him. Well, yeah, you better have great respect for Him because He's God, and you're not. But it's more than that. There is an actual aspect of fear, and I think we need to recognize that. And the Scriptures say it enough that I think we do a disservice to God and to ourselves when we try to simply explain that away completely. Now, we know that God is a God of love, tremendous love, but we also know that God is a God of wrath, and that God, as a God of wrath, will pour out his punishment upon those who disobey Him. And so there is an aspect of fear. And that is what I believe this proverb is talking about, the fear of the Lord, that we recognize that He is God and we are not. But it's not this trembling, crippling fear. It is, though, a fear that is demonstrating, recognizing that we know who we are, and we know who He is, and we know the power that He has, and the lack of power that we have in and of ourselves. And it's kind of like if you had a dad who was just a loving father, but you knew you had done something wrong, and you knew you're going to have to face him, and you knew that he was not going to be happy with you, and that there was going to be some punishment that was going to come. Now, you love him, and you want to be near him, but at that moment, there is a recognition that he is dad, and you're not, and that there's going to be a punishment that's going to come because you've disobeyed him and disobeyed the rules. So there's that kind of fear that we have. Now, what is interesting is that he says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. It's the beginning of knowing. It's the beginning of understanding. And so what is it that we begin to understand? Well, again, I've already talked about this a bit, but we begin to understand who we are. We begin to understand our own frailties. We begin to understand that we don't have power in and of ourselves. I mean, we're living in this COVID day, and we don't, there are people who are fighting for their rights, and there are people that want to show that they have power, but the reality is none of us have power in and of ourselves. And so the fear of God is the beginning of that knowledge. The fear of God is the beginning of the knowledge that we need Him, that we can't do life without Him. No matter what circumstances come into our life, at some point in time, and no matter how strong you are, no matter how powerful you are as an individual, at some point in time, you need God. You need Him. Good morning, Huey. Good to have you with me this morning. So, it's that knowledge. So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. And then that second part of the verse is, fools despise wisdom and instruction. And again, when you go through Proverbs, you see that throughout the book of Proverbs. A fair bit. The statements along the same line, maybe not quite the same words, but along the same line. Fools don't want to know, and they don't want to learn. They just simply want to continue doing what they've been doing. I don't know if you've ever watched, for those of you who are here in Canada, you may have watched Corner Gas. I love Corner Gas. I haven't really watched the animated one as much, but I certainly have watched the original 6 seasons. And there's one episode in there where Oscar is Brent's dad, and he comes into the store and he's wanting to rent a video, and anyways, at some point in time in the conversation, he gets so upset. Now his language is not always the greatest, but he gets so upset, and he says, this line here, I don't want to know what I'm talking about. I mean, think about that. I don't want to know what I'm talking about. That's a fool, right? And unfortunately, many, they want to talk out of their mouth, and they want to say all kinds of things. And when you show them the facts and you show them the truth, their reality is, I don't want to know what I'm talking about. I just want to talk. And that's a fool. And that's what this passage is saying. Fools despise wisdom, and they despise instruction. And more we're finding that to be a reality in this day. I've come across people who, because they saw it on a YouTube video, because they saw it, on the internet somewhere, it's true. And then you show them and you bring them to somebody who has studied this for years and maybe has their master's or maybe has their doctorate in the particular field. And it's like, well, that doesn't matter. I don't really care. I saw this video. I heard it. I read it on the internet. And all of a sudden, what do you have? I don't want knowledge. I don't want wisdom. I just want to believe what I want to believe. And so today, as you go about your day, may we not act as a fool, but may we live in the fear of the Lord and seek knowledge. May we grow in the knowledge of God, in our love for Him, in our commitment to Him. May the Lord bless you. Have a great day.